Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Bite-Sized Branding live show. You know it's live because Grant just cleared his throat because he couldn't wait until after I start the intro. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again. As always, very excited to have these two very special last-minute guests. I bumped into these guys at an event earlier this week and said, hey, if you're free Thursday afternoon, you want to jump on the show? And they said, definitely we'll jump on the show. And that's why we love these guys. So thank you, Susan and Peter, for joining us. And as always, I've got, damn it, just before the show, I literally did this the right direction. And I've got Grant, my right-hand man, literally, not that right hand, right-hand man on the show. But before we jump in there, Susan and Peter, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Grant, for having us on the show. We're excited.
We are excited.
We haven't been live yet.
No.
This is live on what, Facebook or somewhere? Is that right? In the universe.
Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You're all over the world.
Bernard saying that we're free. We're not free. We're very expensive. Okay.
The only reason we got
we're available, but
they're available. They're available. Truly, what happened was somebody else canceled on them, and it just happened to be in this time slot. So we got lucky. That's what happened. We got lucky, and we feel lucky for having them. Hey, do you like that? There you go. Dug myself out of that one. But before we kick into the show a little bit further, I'm going to throw it over to Grant, and as always, mate, introduce the show and tell us all how it's going to break down today.
Well, Peter and Susan, welcome to the show, and to all our guests. My name is Grant Tom, and I'm known as the head fire starter of the advertising and marketing industry. And what that means is that I'm all about getting ideas launched, grown, and create value for customers with the view that they benefit their customers, and we all start to become winners within the digital space. But basically, the format of the show is we give it 5 minutes to discuss a subject with the view to unbundle, and we bring a guest. But when we bring two guests, we're going to up our time to 2 extra minutes. So we've got 7 minutes, and so it's going to be an argy-bargy show because they got lots to say and we got lots to ask. So let's begin.
I like argy-bargy.
Argy-bargy.
That's great. I haven't heard that for a while.
In the nicest possible way, Grant.
In the nicest possible way. We're all gentlemen and ladies in here.
Awesome. So I'll kick it down to you, Susan and Peter. Obviously, thank you very much for joining us from Agency Accelerators, which is your combined company. Tell everyone a little bit more about what you guys do at Agency Accelerators.
Okay. Well, basically, what we do is very much like Grant in terms of we're also helping agencies and service businesses to grow their business. And the way we help them to do that is really implement an ongoing business development program into the agency, into the service business, because one of the key problems that most small businesses have, they don't have ongoing client leads month in, month out, and every agency owner and small business owner stresses out about where their next revenue is coming from. So we help them implement a strategy that gets them those ongoing clients, ongoing revenue, and make sure that they're part of the 10% who actually have an ongoing business development program, because as Peter said,
what do I say?
90% don't.
That's right. we're maths geniuses, as you see.
90%, the other half. 90% doesn't.
The other half is 90%. we're mashing maths here.
He's the investment banker.
Investment banker. I'm the
This
CFO.
is going to be a great show, folks.
I'm the CFO. Okay. So anyway, lots.
Yes.
Just carry the 7, add the 5, and you're good. Like, done.
That's it.
Where's my calculator? In all seriousness, it is a big a gap and a big miss for a lot of agencies. It puts agencies under pressure and service businesses because they don't have this regular lead flow. They're working on business development only when they get around to it. So it's done on an ad hoc basis when a project finishes, where there's a dip in the revenue, and as a result, they go hard at it for 4 to 6 weeks, get a few prospects, and our business development goes out the door, and they wonder why in 3 or 4 months' time, when that project finishes, they've got no more revenue coming in. That's something that we've been working for the last 2.5 years to basically solve, and work with clients all over the world as a result.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Well, let's get into it. We have a bunch of little questions, obviously 3 because that's the construct of the show.
That's a bunch. That's a big enough bunch.
So yeah, it's a small bunch, but it does the job. But there's a lot of stuff going out there in the economy right now, and a lot of people there's a lot of chatter. what's going on with Ukraine, COVID situation, et cetera, et cetera. There's always something for people to be paying attention to. So the first question is going to be around talking to agencies or service-based businesses. What are you guys kind of touting as, what should they be thinking about to future-proof their business in the next 3 to 5 years to come?
What are the trends facing them at this point in time?
What was that, Grant?
What are the trends facing them at this point in time?
Well,
Right.
Sorry.
Ready to go. Look at that. See the timer? Perfect. Now you can speak.
Now you got to watch the.
Got to go to the time.
Okay. So Susan and I have found, basically, having run our own agencies for 15 to 20 years, the trends are exactly the same. As we mentioned a few minutes ago, that it's like there's no real consistency with regards to growing your business. I've always had this expression, you are an economy of one. We've got Ukraine, we've got a potential recession happening, changes of government. All these things are beyond our control. But what is within our control is what we do with our time and with our business. That's what's exciting for us, and that's how we help our clients.
So I think to answer the question, I do think a lot of companies are nervous.
As opposed to what I did was just
like nothing. You just babbled on for a minute. Yeah.
No, but I think that there is we've noticed that a lot of corporates, I mean, this is great in a way. I think there's always, as you know, when there's negative things happening in the world, there's always some people who are going to benefit. So I think the kind of issues that are happening, as you mentioned quite rightly, Bernard, I mean, Ukraine has caused a huge supply chain issues around the world. China's obviously flexing its muscle now with Nancy Pelosi visiting Taiwan. The economy is obviously, interest rates are rising. We still have COVID around, so people are still a little bit nervous, not like they used to be, but still are. So I guess there's so many different factors at the moment, which we haven't seen. I mean, if you think about it, the 30-somethings that are working in corporates, they haven't seen a time where things are not, low interest and everything's, smooth sailing. So I think the way I would be viewing, if I was an agency service business owner, you need to be viewing the long-term aspect, as you said, in the next 3 to 5 years. I think things will get harder. I think corporates will have tighter budgets. But I think on the flip side, I think that's a great opportunity for smaller businesses and smaller agencies, because they're nimble. Service businesses are far more nimble. You usually deal with the head of the agency. You're not pushed down the ranks to a junior if you're working with a small business. You get far more creativity and far more, as they say, bang for your buck, obviously. If you're working, if a corporate wants to really get creativity, passion, and results, then I think smaller businesses and agencies are really going to have it much better in getting a foot in the door with those bigger corporate clients or larger clients than they used to. That's my opinion.
I think Susan gave a far better answer than I did.
Competition.
So do you think then is that the messaging, like if you're an agency now or a professional service, is that the messaging you should be trying to put out into market, talking to people about how the smaller business operator can be more nimble, provide better resource or more resourcing, they can be more cost effective, more efficient? Is that kind of like the little golden egg right there, is if they start touting themselves and putting out that message to the market?
Well, I think the larger organizations, and that's how we help our clients and our agencies get those larger organizations, they need the smaller guys, the independent guys, because things as in these uncertain economic times where budgets are tighter, there's much greater scrutiny on not just budgets, but also what they're doing and ensuring that their corporate social responsibility is adhered to. It's very important that you have those more nimble agencies, but also ones that are cost effective. They have the passion, they have the creativity, they have a commitment to service, all of which sounds like soft things, but they're absolutely vital when it comes to getting the sorts of results that some of these larger organizations need.
And I think the important thing is the
Let me ask you a question. So tough times ahead. Smaller agencies need to be quite nimble with their pricing, but at the same time, for a big company to want to hire their agency, is that not a bit insecure in the sense that they rather have someone that they know can weather the storm because hard times are around, rather than someone that could fall over and therefore they have to start again, and it could be quite expensive for a large organization to set this up? How do you feel about something like that with the trend coming forward of hard times, that a small agency can stay that relevance within their capacity of being nimble in price?
Well, I think, look, the key thing I think is as I said earlier, is making sure that your agency understands what problem you're solving. If you know what problem you're solving for a client, then you only go after those clients that have that problem. And there's usually, if you pick the right problem, there'll be hundreds of, if not thousands of companies that need you out there. So then it's a matter of really putting out content that's going to resonate with that target audience, get you the reputation you need in that niche. So you don't want to be all things to all people, because if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing, as they say. So having that corporate client, or whether it's a corporate client or a larger client, especially getting retainer business, which is the nirvana of every small business, getting retainer clients, you just need to be known in the niche that you want to be known in. And I think if you build that brand and awareness, the other thing I'd say, the important thing happens if you build brand and awareness, price is not as, you're not as price sensitive. And we try to make sure that we work with our clients to often say that price actually can be your positioning. So if you're too cheap or too inexpensive, they won't value your service as much. So you really need to look closely at your pricing and make sure it's competitive, but not too inexpensive.
And corporates are corporates because they're risk averse. Someone who's a risk taker is not going to be working for a large corporate. So we need to work, we as agency owners and our clients need to ensure that it is risk mitigation. Working with us mitigates their risks. So how we do it, obviously, there's a number of ways.
Fantastic.
Interesting. Like, now we're just running down the clock. Oh, you thought it was easy, huh? No, that's really interesting. I think thinking about the fact that yes, the corporates are risk adverse. So looking at ways you can tap into them and show that, like Grant was saying, that stability in the business that you've created will also then allow you to guide the pricing, because they'll want to pay for somebody that they know provides the quality, but also ensures the delivery of the project. So there are a couple of little identifiers that you can tap into within the way that your agency's got to market in order to kind of highlight your position, your brand position. I like that.
And as we said, your branding is really at the heart of everything you do, because reputation equals brand, which equals your positioning. So all of that is wrapped up in your brand. It's really important.
And ironically, a lot of agencies don't do branding of themselves very well at all.
Yeah. That's a good point. Damn, that buzzer got on the good point. Agencies don't do good branding of themselves. That is It's
just
like
we're just warming up. We're just clearing our throats. I mean, what's the story?
Oh, we've got a second question coming up. We've got a second question. It was just the warm up.
That's all right. There's plenty more.
Throw us a curve. Give us a hard one.
John always gives the example, my business partner, of a plumber with a leaky tap. The plumber always has a leaky tap. The builder always has a house that's still under construction, and it's the same thing with a lot of agencies. And for us, like, one thing we do to kind of future-proof our business is every year we dedicate the first week of the year to an internal project, and the entire team comes in that first week, and we just work on that single project for the business. So at one year it was implementing a CRM system, and last year it was launching our new website. So that's a way that we kind of every year make sure that we're staying ahead and staying relevant. So I will stop blabbing now because I'm breaking rules. Second question. What are the key things in agency or a professional service? Because obviously it kind of tends towards agencies face the same kind of as hurdles as any professional agency, where it's built more on reputation and people-to-people connection. So we often find it hard to kind of hit those seven-figure targets, and that's essentially what the next question is. How would those agencies or professional services hit or target those seven-figure opportunities? Ready to rumble?
Yep.
No, not quite. There it is.
Yep.
Well, I guess we always say start from the end and work back. It's like, if you want to achieve $100,000, $1 million, $10 million, you often break that down and say, okay, how are you going to do that? How many clients do you want? How much of those clients go to invoicing, and work it out from there, very, very simply. And then, as we always say, you need to have a consistent business development outreach program that's really connecting with the type of people who can help to bring you those types of results. As I say, don't do what 90% plus of agencies do and just do it ad hoc. Do it consistently, and create that irresistible momentum. That's what can really get you the results. It's that momentum. You don't have to be the best. I always say the best marketer wins. You don't have to be the best at what you do. Just be the best marketer. That's how you get the results.
And then allied to that, I guess, is really some of the strategies. I'll give you a gold nugget. Some of the nuggets that we have here, I'll throw one for you, is the Trojan horse strategy. So the Trojan horse strategy is really, I guess it starts with what we say, start small, and then you actually build into a Trojan horse. So you probably know in the Greek myth that the Trojans sent in a huge horse. That was a big wooden horse. They got through the gates of Troy. And once they were in, obviously all the soldiers were inside the big Trojan horse, and they basically stormed the stores, I guess, as well. And it wasn't a good ending for Troy, but we're saying it could be a good ending for you, for your agency, your business, because what you might start with a very small project, could be like a $5,000 project with a company, but that can build. Once you're in and have the relationship with that company, you can build that. And we've done this with our clients, and we did it for our own agencies. You can build that to $1 million a year business very, very quickly. So
getting in the door is always the hardest.
Yes.
Do it whatever way you can.
Yeah. So even a small.
But making sure that you pick the right client, right? That's where it starts. Like doing that $5,000 project for a company that could only ever afford $5,000 is not a good investment. But if it's a kind of company like a $20 million business, you do a $5,000 project, gets your name in front of people, gets people falling in love with you. They get to experience the service, and they go, okay, well, what else can we do? Or you put it on the table, and it's something that we've had the opportunity to do in the past, where you put it on the table and we say, well, I know you guys aren't looking at this and this. What are you doing in that space? And they go, actually, we're not doing anything. Give us a proposal, and you kind of bring it up from there. And John often asks the same question. He's like, how can we get more of this type of client? How can we, we have some great clients like Living My Way and 𝚑𝚘 that are a retainer-based business. And they're like, how can we get more of these? And I'm like, well, Living My Way actually started with a flyer. Like, we designed a flyer, and then from a flyer, we designed more collateral. And then from there, we did the website, and then the website turned into like on and on and on. It's a bit hard to determine in the beginning, but if you identify the business as a business that has the potential, I think is like, for us, that's what's kind of worked in the past.
And that's where you need to get the right business. Obviously, if you're going if you get a small project with Kellogg or Johnson & Johnson or Nike, they've got the money. If you've got what they need, they've got the money. Something that we launched this week, a new strategy that we've actually used in our own businesses and for our clients as well, that has absolutely caught fire. Everyone loves it. It's called the side door strategy. Yeah. Everyone wants to go and get the big piece of business, the $20 million or the piece of business from the big pitch from Westpac or the New South Wales government or whoever it is. Our philosophy is that's great if you can get it. The chances are you won't, particularly if you're an independent agency or smaller business. Go in the side. That's a front door strategy. Go in the side door, to the point we were just saying, Bernard. Get a $5,000 project with not marketing, but with trade marketing, because no one talks to trade marketing. He's on there on his own. And they have budget, and they have objectives they need to meet. So Susan always loves the blue ocean strategy. So go for the blue ocean. The red ocean is going in and speaking to the marketers, and that can work. But go to the blue ocean, which is go to the people who are less people are speaking to, because they're often lonely and they need to talk.
We don't want.
This is not just marketing. This is relationship advice as well.
You have to you have to romance them. Put it that way. You got to romance those people that aren't always being romanced by the big boys.
Exactly.
See, here's the situation again, right? Where little agencies have staff, and the staff want to work on those prestigious projects. They don't want to work on work just to stay alive. What you're referring to is about businesses staying alive and staying relevant and getting their foot through the door. But a lot of their staff want to do the bigger projects, otherwise they're going to get poached by someone else. Correct. So that's basically why a lot of agencies are trying to go through the front door and land that big project. But like you say, there's still so much, not more work on the side doors that can be so much more profitable. But at the end of the day, it's not always that creative.
It's not. And that's quite frankly, my whole agency was, I spent virtually the whole time working for challenger brands. To the point, exactly the point you make, Grant, and that was always a consideration. It's like, is my staff going to get bored? And quite frankly, some did, and some left, but some stayed. So the ones that it's a natural attrition when it comes to getting the right staff. If you want to work on the like Red Bull or Nike or McDonald's or the sexy ones, that wasn't us. But if you want to work on solid projects where it actually tests you intellectually, it really, that's the beauty of having your own business. You can create it in whatever guise you want.
But having said that, some of the clients I know with some of our agencies as well, they've done the side door strategy, and they did get some sexy clients. You know, they may not have been the Coca-Colas, but they were like you know, still household names that people were happy to work with because they were creative. You know, if you're a creative agency and you've got some creative design work, as long as your designers like doing that creativity, that's great. You know, startups, a lot of startups don't have big budgets, but then sometimes they throw in a huge, you know, second round of funding. They have all this money and they need to build a new brand and a new go-to-market launch strategy. That can be quite exciting too, to make sure your staff are happy.
Yeah,
absolutely. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. Now I'm trying to think, okay, how can I get through the side door? How can I get through the side door?
Loves the side door.
I know, it's great. The side door is
great.
Really
yeah. And it's true, and it's not even necessarily directly with the marketing department. Sometimes talking to other people, like if you can get into the COO or somebody in the finance department, they also have budgets. They have things that they need to promote. It could be an internal program. You could be talking to somebody in people and culture. You know, it doesn't always have to be the glitzy billboard. You know.
Right. Oh man!
just in the cusp. I was like,
rounds of boxing.
It's like we need to change. It's like speed dating.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you have to get up and move along.
Next table, please.
That would be funny if we could set it up one day where it looked like we're in 3 different locations, but then like I get up and I could just walk into your
studio.
That'd be crazy.
Everyone comes and
switches around, play musical chairs.
Yeah, I think it would work.
We should do a promo like that for our Meet Your Grandparents.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're having way too much.
Didn't even mention that.
Is this working for you? Because we're having way too much fun over here. I don't know about it with you.
That's the point. It's supposed to be fun.
That's
actually on that, we might have a special segment in Gosford if everything works out, which we may need some special guests on to feature at our Meet Your Grandparents in November.
I like that, grandparents.
You guys are creative. You don't happen to be in an agency.
You're an agency.
Grandparents.
you know what you're doing, you know.
We have a couple ideas from time to time.
Yeah.
I love the name, Bite-Sized Branding. I think that's such a great name. I really enjoy it. It's great.
Thank
you. I like the format. I think it's fun.
And we like you.
Oh, stop it. What do you guys want? Anything you want.
You is plural. You is plural.
I took it as a compliment.
Thank you. Very good.
Susan likes the specifics, mate. Like she likes the details.
We're settling in for the next 2 hours. I don't know about you guys. It's like just
we've got 7 minutes. You're in your third question. 7 minutes. You got to bring it home. You got to make it big. You got to now really show your.
I've got a mark out of 10. We're competitive.
Susan's a golden. She was the conch at the front of the class.
I think from now on we're gonna need like little actually I've got this, but I don't think it's relevant. There you go. That's your story.
I learned that. We want P for perfect.
That's what that stands for. Oh,
gold star.
So last question. I know it's a bit of a passion of your agency and a methodology that you guys have constructed, other than your more timely executions like the side door whatever access the side door whatever
side door strategy. Yes,
the side door shop.
I think we should do
the side door. Yeah, the side door something. But LinkedIn has always been a key component of your strategies, and I thought it'd be great if you could share a couple of tips of how to leverage LinkedIn so you can be really focused on that right fit customer. I will hit this baby right here and that one there, and boom, magic.
Okay. Well, we love LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you're right, Bernard. It is one of probably the best tools and a very underrated tool for business development. I think most 99% of people on LinkedIn do it incorrectly. So we have a lot of our clients have said, oh, we tried LinkedIn and it didn't work. Well, you know why it didn't work? Because every LinkedIn person, you're trying to sell something to someone on LinkedIn, and it's not about that. LinkedIn is a relationship starter. So it's about romancing people on LinkedIn. So it's about romancing them. So really sending out LinkedIn messages, you need to send them out with some sort of value attached to them. It can't just be a connection and this is, we do branding, we'd love to talk to you because we do branding, we'd love to do your brand. That's boring and no one's going to respond. But sending out LinkedIn messages with some real value attached to it, some thought leadership, you do it slowly. You have to have a sequence of messaging for LinkedIn. It can't just be a one-off as well. And that's the way you find you get the results.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter?
I wrote a book some years ago called Customer Romance.
We'll show you.
Susan's going to
Show you. Here we are. Here it is. There we are.
Hey.
Customer Romance. You have
How come I've never got a copy of this?
Yes,
Yeah, we didn't get a copy.
Did you get a copy? Oh, well, we'll send you a copy. It's on.
I'd love a copy.
It's on Amazon.
It's not on Amazon. It's only for exclusive people like Grant and
Customer Romance. How to build your brand one customer at a time.
And
I love it.
Bible. That's our Bible.
And I guess that's the philosophy we use and we tell our clients, because exactly as Susan said, the mistake most agencies and people make, and we like you, we get hit on every day by people saying, oh, we're selling services, we do SEO, we do website build or PR, whatever.
Us too, and we even do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. And it's all wrong, because it's like you don't meet the man or woman of your dreams by going up to them and saying, I want to marry you. When you first meet them, it's like, hi, blah, blah, blah. And we always say with customer romance, you take them through the stages of a relationship exactly the same way. And it's like on LinkedIn in particular, it really is, as Susan said, there's a lot of skepticism out there. There's a lot of, and invariably, unless you're working for a big organization or you're an absolute superstar that everyone knows, you're anonymous. Particularly if you're a corporate, if someone is a corporate, they're getting hit on all the time. You think we're getting hit on, imagine how much they're getting hit on. So if you go, instead of saying to the marketing director of Unilever, let's say 𝚑𝚘𝚒 deodorants, it's, hi, John, I'd really like to, we do fantastic, we're a creative agency, we do fantastic work. We'd really love to speak with you. Here's our Calendly link. Delete. However, he said, hi, John, I really love what you did in your campaign in the 𝚑𝚘𝚒 is fantastic campaign that was launched last year. We actually have written an article specifically about a post specifically about how FMCG manufacturers, particularly in your space, in the deodorant space, can improve their brand presence and market share. I thought you'd be interested in seeing it. By the way, it'd be great to connect. As you can see, it's a different type of mindset. You're delivering value. You're not necessarily saying, I want to meet with you. You're saying, okay, hi there. I know that I need to provide value to become part of your consciousness, if you will. Here's value. And you keep adding that value and adding that value. And after you've built up that relationship and that awareness, say, oh, by the way, we've got some ideas. We've got 3 ideas that can help you to increase your market share. It'd be great to maybe have a Zoom. And that's it.
So I guess the 2 key things you're doing there is you're establishing thought leadership, because that shows that person that you're talking to that, that you've looked at me, you know what I actually do. You're interested in actually sharing something that's of value for me so that I can learn something. And the second part is the law of reciprocity. So that's something that's innate in our humans. Research has shown that we as human beings, if we owe someone something, if we are given something from another person, there's an innate awareness that we owe them something. So if you give enough reciprocity as something of value to those and relevance to those contacts you want to make on LinkedIn, inevitably they're going to say, oh my God, Bernard, he keeps sending me these fantastic articles.
What does he want?
I've got to talk to this guy, because he said, I feel like I really need to speak to him because he sent me so many interesting things that are of value that I'm interested in.
Because inevitably they will need something sometime.
That's right.
And as long as you're on the shopping list of those potential people they'll speak to, you'll get a shot. Doesn't necessarily mean you're the client, but if you do that at scale, going back to what we talked about before, if you have that momentum and where you're connecting with 100 people a week on LinkedIn, for example, let's say 20 or 30 actually accept those connection requests, you're then potentially having conversations with maybe 5 of them, and over, like, if you're talking about 20 or 30 per month, maybe one every 2 or 3 months may become a client, and that client could get you $1 million.
Yeah.
And very you guys know, that's how it works, and that's why, as
strategic numbers game.
Exactly. We gave a presentation to 200 people at Advertising Week earlier this week, and we actually asked the question, how many of you have actually tried to connect with even 50 or 20 people on LinkedIn in the last week? Show of hands, please. Not one.
They might have been shy, but
I don't think so. They're marketing.
but no one put their hand up, which was amazing. Well, it was amazing to me, but then it wasn't.
Oh,
I
we
guess.
knew they
So
wouldn't. We knew they wouldn't. But the point is that leaves the door wide open for exactly this added value, delivers a value strategically and consistently approach, because no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going in for the, I want to marry you. Hi, I've just met you. I want to marry you. Can I? Let's have a. Here's my calendar. Let's have a meeting, and I want to sell you. And particularly in Australia, it doesn't work well.
Yeah.
Very
Very
true.
sales adverse here.
The relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We've got
So-
45.
So that's
It's
the
just,
key.
is this awkward silence now, or
No, I
No,
can
no.
do it.
You're thinking.
I can feel it. No, so I think, and Sales Navigator, the final thing we'll say is that if you don't have Sales Navigator, which is an add-on to LinkedIn, then that's another great way for you to really select the type of target audience you want to connect with and build your lists. So we would suggest you invest in Sales Navigator.
we would and we do.
And we do. And we
we
as I
can.
said, and we do help. And I guess the key is often, as we said, the fresh ideas often come from people looking at what you do and then making sure that you're resonating with that target audience, sending out the right information, and then they're going to know your brand. And that's it. It's about building brand awareness in a very strategic way.
Grant,
What a perfect wrap there.
tough guy, Grant. I mean, really, I thought we were friends, honestly.
Knocker's not your friend.
Oh, that was awesome. Such great information. I think you're right. Like it is quite, I think the thing that happens to a lot of people is they feel quite confronted from reaching out to somebody quite cold. And it's easy just to copy and paste the message to say, hey, I want to talk to you. Why don't we have a meeting? And then just cross their fingers and hope for the best, rather than thinking, okay, let me actually invest myself into this conversation and make this resonate with the person that I'm talking to, not just shit and blank information. And I think that's it's quintessential to how professional service businesses have to approach their customers. Because like we said, I think before the show when we were talking, is that people, I can't remember, what were we saying before the show?
We're saying, hi, how have you been?
Yeah, that's right. We said something along those lines.
We were talking. I guess we were saying that that most agencies are not good at marketing themselves. They're not their best clients. That's probably the key to what we do, and we help our clients to become their own best marketing agency. And you need to. And often you do need. This is something we really found is you often need people like Peter and I to really step in and keep the business owners accountable. I think that's the key. Because it's very easy. Like, I think it's great that you do your 1 week, for example, Bernard. That's a fantastic idea. But I guess what we're about is doing it, looking after your own 365 days a year.
That's right. Yeah. I think the key point to make, and we've had clients who thought it was this approach was a bit salesy and pushy and not really the way to go. Look, it's going to resonate with some people. I'm talking about prospects. Some people are going to resonate and it's going to be perfect timing. For others, they're going to say, I'm not interested in this and just ignore it. So I think it is, that's why we always say it's a strategic numbers game, because you might have the perfect offer at the perfect time with the perfect person, or it may be the exact opposite. So that's why you've got to keep going up and creating these new, sowing seeds and trying to create new relationships.
Yeah, I always say to our sales team and anyone that's involved in sales in our business, you guys use a lot of references that were kind of dating and relationship type references. And I always say it's like walking up to a girl in the bar, specifically because that's what I'm used to doing. Not that I do it very often. Hold your comments, please. And when you walk up to
hey, you've muted us. What's the story?
When you walk up to a girl in the bar, you can't, like you guys said, you don't jump in and say, hey, do you want to marry me? But even then, when you first walk up to that girl in the bar, if they reject you, if they go not interested, or they just ignore you, it's not a reflection of you. Like, they don't even know you. How can they even judge you? And I think a lot of people, when they go into sales, they start judging themselves based on the reactions of a person that has no idea about them. Yeah. Don't get tied up into that. Don't connect yourself with what just happened. They don't know you. They're not rejecting you. They're just not interested in listening at the moment to anything that fits within this space. Right now, they don't put their focus on this space. That doesn't mean in 6 months' time you couldn't try and contact them again. It doesn't mean that they have that it's a reflection of you. That they're commenting on whatever it is about you. It's just literally a time and space that they're not in to put focus or energy towards what you're asking for. And if people approach sales like that, they stop looking at those rejections as a rejection of them or their brand or their offering. You start looking at it as just a time and a space kind of thing. And then you just move from one. And on that as well, we did engage the agency accelerators, and we are part of the program. So if anyone's wondering, we can share some insights and information. There's also a testimonial on the website, I believe.
Yeah, we do. You and John have given us a great testimonial.
Can I actually say about it's not about you, it's about them type of thing. I remember I was an advertising copywriter in my younger years, which was one of my passions. And one of the key lessons I learned from that was when someone is criticizing you, they're criticizing your work, they're not criticizing you.
Yes.
It's a very important distinction.
Yeah. And yeah, as a young designer, especially in college, I used to get very emotional about my work, and a teacher would say, this is rubbish or whatever they would say, or they would say it's amazing and then give me a really average grade. And I'm like, what do you mean amazing average grade? And then I realized actually in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're not actually it's not a personal attack. They're looking at something objectively from their own opinion. And that's how they're grading it. That's fine. Somebody else may look at it and think it's amazing. It's just wrong target market. You're not my market, So yeah, it's great point. And often it's something we go through with the team as well. And they, the difference between criticism and feedback is just the way that it's received.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, very well put.
Much wisdom, Bernard.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
Man, much wisdom.
I know I don't look it, but every now and then. Yeah.
Well, let me put my takeaway thoughts here. So basically, I think we've had 3 shows that is a great example of edutainment. We've really been educated, entertained thoroughly, but at the same time, it really shows that you've got to educate the value to your customers on a consistent basis. You've got to make sure that you have a relationship with your customer, because you don't just go on big dates automatically. But at the end of the day, the side door can be a little bit more profitable than the main door. And therefore, don't always just be dazzled by the lights at the main entrance. I think that's fantastic. I think thank you so much.
That's a good wrap.
Absolutely.
That's why Grant does the wrap. That's why Grant does the wrap. On that, thank you, Susan and Peter, so much for joining us on the show. This is a great show. I love the energy. I love the information. So hopefully everyone that's watching can take a little tidbit out of here and start to apply it in their own businesses. If you want more information, we are tagging them both in all the posts, or feel free to reach out to Grant or myself, and we'll make sure that you get in touch with Susan and Peter. Other than that, please like, comment, share, follow, give us suggestions.
If you want to be a guest on the show, if you've got a tricky question, let us
know. Something controversial that you'd like us to unbundle. Yeah, Grant loves controversial. The more fiery, the better for the head fire starter.
Next time we'll do a controversial thing. Exactly. How's that?
Ooh, do we do a part 2 to this show? Should we just book a part 2 next show?
Put your secret cameras so that we can really.
That'll be cool. Get you, yeah. It'll be funny though if Susan could just reach over and just touch Peter through the,
I can tell you. Well, no, we can be separate next time. I do have my other position, don't I? We could do it in, but
I put her in her place. Can I say that? I can't really.
You can. You put me in my place. We know where that. It's in the other. It's in the bigger room.
Cut it out.
I will censor this live show for you.
There's no cutting out. It's live.
No, we've enjoyed it so much. Thank you, both of you, Grant and Bernard. You're wonderful, and we appreciate you having us on the show, and hope we shared some nuggets for your audience.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Definitely. Thank you so much, guys. And I think we will do a part 2. Grant, let's put a plan in motion and then talk to the guys. Let's do a part 2 to this show.
I look forward to it.
Done. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye.
Bye.